we've been looking at different atoms and how there's lots of different types of atoms, and these are called elements. We've looked at atoms and elements, and we've also looked at how different atoms can join together to make molecules. So here's a couple of examples of different elements. We've got oxygen here, and oxygen exists as two oxygen atoms joined together as a molecule. And then another example of an element is a metal, something like iron. And iron exists as a lattice. It's got lots and lots of iron atoms all joined together in lots and lots of repeating layers. But what we've discovered is that not all materials are made of just one element. So they're not always the same type of atom. Not all materials are made of the same atom. And this is the main idea for this video. So we can see down here, these are some hydrogen atoms, and we've got an oxygen atom here as well. And if these atoms all come together, they actually join together in this little V-shaped molecule here. And this is H2O, which we all know as water. And it's a molecule that they've made here. So the key with this molecule is it's made of two different types of atoms. There's hydrogen and oxygen. And what we've made here is called a compound. So compounds are materials made of at least two different types of elements. Two different elements. And the key with compounds is that those different elements, they have to be bonded together. So two different elements bonded or joined together. You can't just mix different atoms together. Yeah, they have to actually chemically join together. And we'll learn about that later on. So we can have lots and lots of water molecules, and they all move around like particles, and they make up water, which we use every day. So out of those compounds, there are actually two main different types of compounds. The first type are molecule compounds, and the other ones are lattice compounds. So this is similar to the different types of elements that there can be. So remembering molecules, these are when atoms are bonded together. Atoms are bonded. But they exist just on their own as one particle. So in a single molecule. But now we're talking about compounds, so we have at least two different types of atoms, two different elements. So this one here, this is actually a carbon and two oxygens. And this is called carbon dioxide. which you might know as CO2. So we use the number down here to show how many of each atom there are for every molecule. Here's another example of a compound that's a molecule. This is hydrochloric acid. And it's called HCl as its symbols because it's made up of a hydrogen, which is H, and a chlorine, this green one here. Hydrochloric acid is a really strong acid and it's dangerous to use. So these are compounds that are molecules, but compounds can also be a lattice. So we remember what a lattice structure looks like. Atoms are arranged in a repeating lattice. And we can see now that we're a compound, there's two different elements that make up the lattice. And this is a really common compound. This one's called sodium chloride, which has the symbols NaCl, because it's made of sodium, Na, and chlorine, which is Cl. And we actually eat sodium chloride every day. It's just normal salt. So remember that compounds are when there's two different elements and they're bonded together to make a new chemical.